You just stumbled upon the number one group of five football podcast in the world. We are the Group of Five guys. Our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that our friends in the mainstream sports media will not do. We need your help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, leave a 5-star rating and review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends where they can find us, or you can go to group-of-5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys swag. On this short episode, we call it Inside Drill. Colorado State offensive coordinator Matt Mumme joins us for the third time. Enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
Lee Corso is a guy who had a retirement party 10 years ago, and yet he still won't leave the office.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. That's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
I appreciate what you guys do, truthfully, covering the Group of Five. Y'all said it earlier, but the Sun Belt to me is college football.
Jeff, for the third time coming on the Group of Five Guys podcast, second time as the offensive coordinator at Colorado State, Matt Mumme, Fort Air Raid. Coach, welcome back. Thank you again for hanging out with us.
Hey, this is awesome, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Of course, every time you guys have me on, I appreciate it. And can't believe another season's here. It just creeps in and creeps up. And really excited to get year 2 going here at Colorado State.
Yeah, Coach, I follow you on Instagram. Look like you spent a lot of the summer fishing, trying to get in the outdoors. What you got any highlights from the summer or your favorite fish you caught?
Oh, my disappointment of the summer. So for the past 6 months, we planned this trip to Hawaii. It was our first week off in June. We just got done with camps. I'd had a guide set up to take me out after blue marlin. It's peak season in Hawaii. It's, the late June, the bite's on. They're catching blue marlin like crazy. And we get 20 miles out in the ocean and the boat breaks down and we had to be rescued. And so my dream did not happen. So that was kind of a bummer, but still had a great trip to Hawaii. Shoot. So that was the worst thing that happened. So that was those deals where I was like, well, gonna have to reschedule this one, but missed out for sure.
Brutal. Well, so you're out west now, and then but of course you spent a lot of time in our area in the South. So more of like a, bass guy, or, I don't know what you catch out there, walleye or
trout. Trout's big fishing out west, isn't it?
Lots of trout, you got to be happy with small fish pictures,
What's the trick? You got to hold them real far in front of you, right?
So that everybody can see that your 3-inch fish looks more like a 7-inch fish.
There you go.
But no, mainly trout, some walleye. Actually, here in Colorado, they do have some smallmouth, but man, majority of my life I spent, chasing those green bass around the South and some smallmouth in the South. But started out fishing when my grandfather had a boat in South Texas, and started out as a saltwater fisherman when I was really, really young. So that's how I kind of got the itch. And then as dad got either promoted for jobs or fired from jobs, moved around, I learned to fish the inshore or the landlocked species, of fish when you had to just go to lakes or rivers. But anyway.
I love it.
Well, Coach, camp is in full swing. How are things looking in Fort Collins? Expecting a big year out of this offense in the second year, right?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, we're still relatively young. We started so many young guys last year, so it's crazy when you say your starters were sophomores. I mean, so which is a good thing. They all had an eye-opening experience. I would say last year was a tough year for them, and they learned a lot of lessons. But they've grown from those lessons, and I think here we are 6 practices in, and we're a different football team. And we're still young, and we still got a lot to learn. But each week's going to be pivotal for us in trying to put together a good season and hopefully a bowl run.
Yeah, Coach. A lot of the the air raid or spread offense haters always say, the issue is scoring in the red zone or scoring when you get close. And it seemed like that was, a bit of the challenge for you guys last year. You obviously Torrey Horton's a star. You got all these guys, you got numbers, but couldn't quite always put it in the end zone. Is that something you guys are focusing on hardcore this camp?
Yeah, we've talked a lot just in the last week and a half about efficiency and offensive efficiency and being able to score points. The clock change is going to be, I want to say it's not going to be dramatic, but it is, right? So the analytics are telling us it's going to be about, a 4 to 6 plays difference on offense and defense. So you're going to have, 4 to 5, 6 plays less than you would normally have in the past. And so making each possession way more critical, right? To score, and so when you look at points per drive, that's where, if you're getting 10 drives a game, you need to be getting points on 7 to 8 drives to really hope to be a high scoring, successful offense.
Mentioned last year, it was tough at times, but I think a huge bright spot in your guys' offense was Clay Millen. And talk about getting thrown to the fire. Guy had a ton of pressure on him all year, but I thought he did a very good job and a good completion percentage finishing the year. Talk a little bit about his offseason and his growth and what's he looking like in camp.
Well, he learned a lot last year the hard way, and after the season was over, it was one of those deals where you go, man, this kid's a warrior. I mean, he kept getting up. He got, beat down quite a bit, obviously sustained an injury early in the season and came back from that and played a lot better once he came back. And so I think he's really just took a step back and kind of looked at what last year was like and where we could be better. And, really going into this camp, he's been way calmer. He understands the offense more. He's been able to manage the offense and really help get us into good plays. So I think that's a big deal for us. Even though it was such a struggle last year, those reps were still critical in his growing experience.
Coach, there was that article that came out probably a month or so ago about Torrey Horton and how he had potential opportunities to transfer, get a bunch of NIL deals, but he stayed. Part of the reason was wanting to be in your offense. Did you have any, talks with him, or how did that work? Did he ever even think about it, or was it like, no, I'm ready to stay, build this thing, and be a part of it?
I mean, I think it's today's game. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get, group of 5 schools are going to get poached from the Power Fives. Group of 5 schools are going to poach from the FCS ranks. But for Torrey, he's always been extremely loyal. He's a great young man. He's extremely smart, and he gets it. So I think it was one of those deals. Well, yeah, I could go to another school. I could go to the SEC and be a third string guy that catches 30, 40 balls a year, or I could stay at Colorado State and have the opportunity to maybe catch 100 this year, for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. So I think, him just being a smart young man and understanding like, hey, where is it going to benefit me as a player? It was staying with us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of athletes today, especially with the transfer portal and all this realignment stuff, they get fed bad information, I think. And I always say it, you can be a small fish in a big pond or a big fish in a small pond. And I think that's the right decision. He's going to get all the reps at Colorado State, all the film he's ever going to need, because the ultimate goal for these guys is to make it to the NFL. That's where they're going to get their most money. And I'm just glad he stayed, because he's going to be a huge part, of your guys' offense this year. He was last year. And then with the Mountain West and all the things going out in the Pac, the Pac-4 now, I guess. What's kind of your take on all this realignment stuff? Do you have any information on what they're thinking in the Mountain West? I hope everybody stays put and stays strong out there.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy, right? I mean, you've seen it coming over the last couple of years, but and even like the OU Texas deal, it's like, okay, well, they're going to leave, but they're not going to leave till 25. And now it's just, no, we're leaving now, and everybody's like scrambling and leaving. And what are we going to do? And where are we going to go? And, and Jesus didn't fit you, I mean, I just feel like it's very chaotic. And Mountain West is from, I mean, State, they were going to leave for the Pac-12, and now the Pac-12's gone, so I think, and this is me speaking, I mean, the Mountain West sits in a pretty good situation. I mean, I feel like, we pick up what's left of the Pac-12 and we just stay the Mountain West, and we, expand the conference and keep doing our things. I mean, this has been, I've been in this conference for 6 years. It's been a great conference to be a part of. It's a fun conference to play in. It's exciting, and it's, and it's hard from bottom to top. There's good football teams and good coaches in this conference.
Yeah, Coach, on that same sort of subject, has Coach Prime coming into state had any effect on you guys? Has it, I almost had the thought of, well, he's going to go recruit nationally now. And so maybe that leaves some more local kids for the Colorado States of the world. Is that the case? Have you seen any impact at all for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We have, and here's my thing with Prime. Like, that flashiness, he brings an excitement to Colorado, and that's his game, and that's great for Colorado. We get to play him this year. It's going to be a huge rivalry. It's already sold out. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, it's so. So I mean, that's him. People are like, oh, I'm tired of it, but whatever. I mean, that Coach Norvell has done a great job. He's always been the blue collar kind of guy, and we're going to recruit hard in our home state. We're going to recruit hard nationally, and we're going to try and bring the best players in that fit our system. But, he has kind of left a hole in Colorado. It's, he's going to look for more of the portal. He's going to look to the portal first, transfer guys and stuff like that. So he has generated more interest in the state of Colorado, which has been nice for us. There's plenty of big men out there that we can try and go get and try and keep them to stay in state. And so, really to answer the question, I mean, recruiting wise, it has given us some opportunities that might not have been there with somebody else.
Awesome. And staying in the Mountain West, there's no more divisions. They've kind of opened it up, and the best two teams are going to get a shot at the championship game. What's kind of your thoughts on that? Do you like that model? I know they're trying to give themselves the best shot to hopefully get a team to possibly get into the college football playoff, but I kind of like it. But I'd love to get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think inevitably at the end of the day, every young man on every team wants to play in the big games. And so whatever is going to give us the best chance to, do what, a Cincinnati has done, right? Like, be a successful Group 5 school that wins your conference and then has an opportunity to play in the big game on, when the bowl games come around. I mean, I think that's the goal, I mean, so, first it starts with being able to win a championship in your conference, but the line, when are we going to the 12 teams, I think 25 maybe?
I don't know.
25 or 20, anyway.
It'll change.
Teams like us are
before
going to. Oh, no doubt. It'll be like Leach said, they'll have a 64 team.
Yeah. It's a
playoff.
big tournament. Yeah. Coach, you guys play Colorado. So that's week 3 or week 2, I think you play Colorado.
Yeah, week
Is
2.
that is it at their place or in Fort Collins?
It's at their place. It's our second game, but we have the dreaded bye week 2. So we
Oh,
play
man.
Washington State first, and then we have a bye week, and then we play Colorado, and then we have 11-game run. So I mean, it's I don't know who put that schedule together, but the bye week 2 is.
Yeah, that's tough. And then you fly after that. You fly across the country to Murfreesboro, I think.
Yes, we do.
So
But, those guys do a good job over there.
yeah.
Done a good job for a long time.
Is that a trip I know you have some family, I think, in Kentucky. Is that a trip you're kind of looking forward to? Do you got any people that are coming to that game?
I have a lot of people hitting me up, and my wife will make that trip. So it's
Nice.
there's so many people. I mean, obviously being close to Kentucky, I've got tons of friends in Tennessee and Georgia. So they rarely have enough time to come all the way out to Colorado. So there'll be a lot of people in our corner for sure at that one.
Well, if you I don't know what day you guys will get into town, but we'll keep it on the low. If you get a chance to sneak out of the team hotel, maybe swing the golf clubs, maybe I don't know, have a few cold ones. I'm just spitballing here, Coach. I don't know, just spitballing.
I wish these are business trips, and we get in the stadium, walk around for a few minutes, go to the hotel, go to sleep, get up, play games. So it's pretty regimented.
How does that, on a more serious note, when you make a long trip like that, and I haven't looked at what the kickoff time is, but
6 p.m. Central.
A game like that, or especially when we look at all this realignment stuff, you're going to have these teams flying across multiple time zones. Does that affect you guys at all? Does it affect the players, or is it just once you get on the field, football's football?
I think it's definitely, it's not something to take lightly for sure. I mean, we'll do it. We go to Hawaii for our last game on Thanksgiving, and we'll go a whole nother day early. We'll actually do some things to try and prepare our players, to make that trip, to get plenty of rest, get themselves hydrated for a long flight, get over there and actually go to a practice before we actually play on Saturday. So I think, you're going around, you're going like Hawaii or even to the East Coast. I mean, you definitely have to have it in the back of your mind that, hey, we need to prepare our guys for it.
Yeah, well, Coach, we're excited. We'll see you there because we've got our alumni golf tournament, I think the day before, so we'll all be in attendance. We'll probably be rooting for the alma mater, just to be honest with you, but we'll root for a high scoring, successful offensive game. Either way,
I'll tell you what, I'm worried. I think
I know
y'all are the Rams are looking for some revenge from last year, and I think you guys are going to be much improved.
It's definitely there. I think what happened last year for us was not a showing we would want to happen again. But Coach Stockstill does such a tremendous job there at MTSU and has for how long's he been there now? Coming up on 20 years?
It's close. I think it's 17.
Right? Yeah.
Something like that.
And bowl game wise, MTSU has been bowling for, I want to say 11 or 12 bowl games in the last 16 years too. So
yeah, and
well-established program.
And with probably the worst facilities in the United States. But the construction's going. You'll see when you get here. They're supposed to be building all new facilities, so we'll see.
Yeah, you guys don't have that problem.
Are they just building? Are they building on the stadium, or is it just like a facility for football?
It's a whole football complex, like on the north end zone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When you guys get there, it's probably gonna be a pile of rocks still. I mean, that's what it was this week. We were up there, so but yeah, it's gonna be a full, whole. I think it's 60+ million. It's Should be big time. We've been waiting on it. It'll probably look like a lot of the schools out there in the Mountain West. I mean, you guys, I can't think of. And you guys' stuff is very nice. I've seen Air Force's stuff's ridiculous. So
Canvas is top notch. I mean, we've been to a handful of places. I don't think there's a nicer place that I've seen.
It's hard to beat what we have. I mean, and I think the the plans they put in place for this, it's a great stadium. It has everything you need, and they didn't build it too big, right?
It's perfect
They didn't
size.
build it to where it was just obnoxious, and Fort Collins couldn't fill it. I think we're right at 41,000, and we can pack that thing out. So that's what we're looking forward to this year, is just putting a better team on the field and a more experienced team, and getting fans in the seats and getting people, interested and generate some interest from outside of Collins for us.
yeah, I love it, and I mean your fans they do a fantastic job, so far supporting you guys, and I think you'll have unbelievable support if you go into Boulder and beat up on beat up on Coach Prime in Colorado. Your stadium will be as loud as it's ever been. Forget about the whole rest of the season
Right.
after if you win that game. But that's one that
There's not there. I mean, the eyes. We got Washington State first at home, and we got Colorado. Two amazing opportunities for us to really set the stage. Really for Group of Five, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
two opportunities to play a Power Five team and have have a chance to knock them off. I mean, last year was last year, and we knew walking into those games like, hey, we're just and if we got here without getting hurt, we'd be in good shape. But it's gonna be fun. I can't believe it's this close already.
couple weeks away. Well, Coach, as always, thank you so much for hanging out. Third time. I think you're the first person to be on 3 times, Jeff.
Yes, he's the leading coach that's been on the most.
We got to get a scoreboard that we put
do.
in the corner, and then I'll tell you what. You probably be a busy man, but maybe we'll catch up with you after week 3 there, but people will be calling for you to get you on at that point, I'm sure.
No, we can definitely make that happen. But I appreciate you guys. I mean, I'm at a West Coast school, but I'm still an East Coast guy. So, I love coming on with you guys and appreciate the support you've given me over the last few years, and always enjoy getting to talk to you guys.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Thank you. Well, good luck. Couple weeks away. Good luck this season. Good luck in the conference. Colorado State offensive coordinator Matt Mumme. Check out that Fort Air Raid hat. You cannot get them anywhere. Cannot get those anywhere. A couple people in the world have them. Coach, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, guys. Be good. See you in a few weeks.
Yes, sir.
See you then.
Jeff, I'm rooting so hard for Colorado State, dude.
I am too.
I root
mean,
for all the coaches we have on. Unfortunately, that's what happens to me. But
that's just what happens. You build a relationship with these
Yeah.
guys, and I mean, they become good friends of ours. So I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with you though. I hope Colorado State, and I do. I think Colorado State's going to be much improved,
yeah, they'll be better.
especially with Clay Millen, like you said. I mean, just that growth from year one. Believe it or not, like you learn a lot getting your ass kicked. You learn, what works, what doesn't, what you need to be doing. And it sounds like, Clay's come a long way. And I'm just excited to see that, maturation process between him and Torrey Horton and Justice Ross Simmons. Like, I think their offense is going to be a lot better. They're going to fix those red zone issues that they had last year. And like you were saying, that big game against Colorado, against Prime.
Oh, he didn't want to get into it. I know he didn't want to get into it. They got a game week 1 they're prepping for. They got a conference schedule they got to worry about. But deep down in those players' minds and that coaching staff's mind, they're like, we have got to kick their ass and just not just. I mean, he said it like Deion's Deion, man. It's Coach. He's been like that since he was at Florida State, and then the Cowboys, the Falcons, playing baseball, whatever. He's been like that. It's not him. It's the fact that ESPN is already sitting there saying that they're playing in some of the biggest games of the year, and they won 2 games last year.
Yeah, and
So.
I don't know who put this out. It wasn't like an official college football ranking. It was like an analyst on
no.
ESPN. They had them ranked in the top 20. And I'm just like, how? How can you possibly?
It's
And
embarrassing,
they were
man.
ranked like higher than Tulane on this guy's
It's
list. And I'm just
embarrassing.
like, how in the world can you possibly do that? Plus, and I didn't realize either, they have a bye. That week 2 bye, that's so odd. But it gives them an extra week.
Long term, it sucks, but short term for that particular game, could come into play.
Because now Colorado's only going to have 1 week's worth of game
Yeah.
film. Colorado
Mhm.
State's going to have 2 weeks. Not that,
Well, who's Colorado play? I think they open with TCU, right?
it's a tough, it's not an easy first couple.
Colorado, yeah, they go at TCU and then they're home versus Nebraska.
Yep.
So, I mean, Nebraska's not very good, but they got a new coach too.
But it's,
either way, I mean, you got
that
two.
should be a physical game though.
Right.
So physical game against TCU, I would think, on the road, tough place, and then a physical game at home against Nebraska, and you got Colorado State coming in.
Well, and not to, it's a rivalry game, so Colorado's not going to overlook any, and they're certainly not in any kind of position to overlook anybody. But the week after, Colorado goes to Oregon.
Yep.
So
Trap feel a little bit.
Kind of like with Tennessee in that UTSA game.
Yeah.
You got 2 big games on either side of it, while Colorado State's got a bye. Wait a minute. Interesting to see what the line will be on that, especially after TCU beats them by 40 points. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing them in person. But really, regardless of the outcome of that game at Middle, I love seeing a guy that's a future NFL guy like Torrey Horton.
Yep.
I can't wait to see him in person. And I want to see, like we always talk about, does he look like the NFL guy on the field amongst regular guys? Maybe, maybe not. And Middle's always got the good DBs. So,
well, yeah, they got the good DBs, and we saw at camp. I mean,
yeah,
their D line looks pretty stout.
Yeah.
So, and that was one of Colorado State's issues last year, was protecting Millen, giving him enough time to go through his reads to push the ball downfield. So, if that D line, they do work like they did last year, especially towards the end of the season on teams, it's going to be a tough day. But I think I have faith in Matt Mumme. I think that offense is going to be better than it was last year. They're going to protect Millen better. I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do.
Yeah, and I think they're going to give a lot of teams in the Mountain West problems. I think the top of the Mountain West is still a notch better than Colorado State will be. But you never know, man. Yeah, I mean, you never know what'll happen. You never know. They get an early bye week. Maybe they win a few early games. They get some confidence. Their offense starts clicking. I mean, you never know what could happen. Maybe somebody at one of the top teams gets injured or whatever. I mean, there's so many variables in football that anything can happen. And over the course of a season, you just never really know. But again, thank you, Coach Mumme. Thank you for joining us. Good luck to you. Good luck to Colorado State this year. He said, grab those 4 teams from the Pac-12, Jeff, and just bring them in.
Yeah, I mean, and that was, he said it. That's his opinion. He hopes that's what happens. I mean, I honestly hope that's what happens too.
I'll go out to Stanford, catch some games.
One of my best friends growing up played baseball at Stanford. Beautiful campus.
Yeah.
A lot of fun out there. And you keep the Cal-Stanford rivalry, which is, I mean, I grew up. I was a Cal Bear fan. That was like one of the biggest rivalries. I mean, it's the first rivalry I ever really knew about, and would go to the game. And Cal was terrible back then, so Stanford would always win until Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn Lynch came to town. But, yeah, I just hope they bring those 4 teams in. And to me, that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I think that if you're in California, you don't belong in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Mountain West, maybe. I mean, makes a little more sense. So,
well, I mean, you got you got the mountains and you got the West. To me, it makes perfect
Mountain
sense.
Division and West. Well, you already got San Jose State, Fresno State.
I was going to say San Diego State.
Yeah.
Like you got
exactly
plenty of. The problem is, and I just know this from growing up in California, Cal and Stanford especially, like their noses are up at all the state schools, Fresno State, San Diego State, San Jose State. So, like, but they may not have a choice.
But aren't
honestly.
their noses up at UCLA and USC also?
Yeah, they are, but not like the people and the students the kids I knew that went to Cal and Stanford, like they like, oh, San Jose State, like that's small time to them, but
Well,
we'll see.
yeah, I mean, what are
It's
you
all
gonna do? You guys could
private.
just,
I can't remember exactly how the funding works
yeah.
for like, I know Stanford's like, I'm pretty sure that's private, but like Cal's like, the California state school system is so confusing, honestly.
Well, everything about the state of California confuses me, Jeff. So I mean, we don't need to get into it, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that. I think that'd be cool. I think that makes for an interesting, those would make for interesting rivalries though, because
Yep.
you do have two opposite cultures. You know, rivalries, we talked about it on the other show. It's like you either have two cultures that are very similar or two cultures that are just complete opposite. And that's what you would have with those.
Yep.
And I think
Similar
it would make
areas.
for some good football, good fans. It would increase, you know, it would increase the fan support at all the schools, in my opinion. But anyway, Jeff, that's all we got. We're going to sign off. Thank you again, Coach Mumme. If you enjoy the show, make sure you go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the show. Click the like button. Click the share button. Give us a 5-star rating and review. And tell your family and friends all about us. Go to all the social media platforms and give us a follow at Group of Five Guys. Or you can go to groupof5guys.com and get you some swag. We got football in 2 weeks. We're out of here.